All right, good afternoon, everybody. Hey, we're going to go ahead and get started. It's 1:03 right now, and we don't have everybody on board, but we've got a pretty full boat here. Before I get started, can everybody hear me okay? All right, cool, sweet, awesome. So we've got a big group with well over 100 people registered today, so that's a good thing. I know that we've got quite a bit of weather throughout the country, and it's been crazy, hasn't it? The amount of snow and cold and everything else around a large part of the country has certainly made it a little bit difficult for us to finish the year, especially down in places where you guys typically don't get this type of weather. So I know that it can create a decent amount of adversity. So you deal with it the best you can. Okay, so thanks for joining me today. This is the first part of what we're calling our fourth quarter workshop. We call it Lawn Care in the Danger Zone. We're going to do the things a little bit differently this year. In the past, we've done the Be Safe weekly conference calls, and kind of each week attacked a certain topic. We're going to do it kind of in quarters this year and in workshops. I'm going to be a little bit more deliberate with the topics that we take. I'm also going to try to reduce the length of the call from, at times in the past we'd go, for 90 minutes and be a little bit more interactive. As far as the consulting attendees go, welcome. I hope you enjoy the workshop we're about to put on. The workshop's going to run on Tuesdays, beginning today, and it's going to go through December 16th. It'll start at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. I've decided what we're going to do, and I kind of figured this at the last minute, because so many of the registered attendees are snow plowing already. I'm going to do a repeat of each workshop, of each session at night, and I think that's actually going to be sort of helpful for a lot of people who are still on the road or running around or have other responsibilities, other things going on. I'm going to play a repeat of each session at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And what I think I'm going to do also is I'm going to actually try to be a little bit interactive with it. And this whole Twitter thing, I think is going to work pretty well. So we're going to kind of get on Twitter and do an interactive sort of live session to go back and forth. If you want to watch the replay, you're going to have to register for it, because I'm not going to automatically send it out to everybody. The best place that I thought I would post it was on the blog at tomkellyconsulting.com. So if you want to watch it again, or if you want to get somebody who's related to your business to watch it, or you want to just kind of participate in the online interaction that we'll do on Twitter, go to tomkellyconsulting.com and go to the blog, and there will be a registration form there that will automatically get you registered for it. So you're going to have to re-register. We'll see how the Twitter thing goes. I don't know exactly how it'll go, but I think that the evening session actually might even be more well attended than the daytime session, because I know so many people have so much going on. So let's go ahead and get rolling. The fourth quarter workshop is going to be made up of 5 different sessions. Today we're going to talk about the renewal, which is timely. It's the time of year where you need to kind of get people scheduled for the following year, and we'll talk about all the reasons for that. But over the next couple of weeks, we'll do things like look at the previous year, look at your financials, look at your services. We'll analyze what that all means, and then the following week we'll kind of parlay that into the pending year projections. We'll kind of build a budget. We'll talk about what services you're going to do based on what we learned by analyzing the previous year. Right after that, we'll talk about building a marketing plan to help you to reach your goals based on your own personal initiatives, what you want to do, and again, based on some of the things that you learned in the previous sessions. Finally, on December 16th, which will be the final workshop, or the final session of the workshop, will be how to really develop a nice sales process. A lot of these things we covered in previous years on what we called our lawn care in the 21st century, program, but we're going to drill it down to really some pretty significant details. And the goal is that at the conclusion of this workshop, you're going to have a real legitimate roadmap for how to implement a plan for 2015. And that's, you know, the whole theme of the workshop, the danger zone, is about how you get out of the danger zone. And when you have a real good roadmap, when you have a decent plan, that's helpful. I mean, that's what it's all about, to be able to find your way out of that danger zone and have a successful 2015. So does anybody have any questions? In the past, we'd kind of be interactive, and I'd be looking at the questions and reading and trying to think and, you know, walk and chew gum at the same time. I'm not going to do that this year. So I'll stop occasionally throughout the program and ask if anybody has questions. Absolutely, please type them into the console there. I'm going to try to keep this to well less than an hour. That's the goal. I know I lose your attention when we go longer than an hour, so I'm going to keep it less than an hour. I also know that when you watch the recording, if it's a long session, that ain't no fun either. So let's go ahead and get started. Nobody asked any questions. The renewal. So this time of year, you're finishing up. You're finishing what you're doing, whether it's your maintenance, whether it's your lawn fertilization, whatever your core services are, whatever your peripheral or supplemental services are, you're finishing. And the renewal this time of year serves as closure for that particular season. It's the symbolic end of your service year. But it's the final chance you get to engage with your customers, because once we get, it seems to be becoming a little bit early this year, but once we get to winter, they are not thinking about you unless you do snow removal with them. So the renewal always offers a mechanism to get them to engage with you that one final time, but also to commit to using your service next year, and that's important for a lot of different reasons. It helps you understand what you're going to have lined up, but it helps with cash flow too. So even if it's just a simple verbal agreement that you have with your customers, even a simple verbal agreement to most consumers acts as that sort of contract. Even though it's better to have a contractual agreement, you want to have something in writing or an email or signature or even a payment. But if somebody tells you, yeah, I'm going to use your service, most of the time it's going to be difficult for the competition to steal them away from you. So most importantly, though, the renewal this time of year, the renewal is to generate working capital to advance your business the following year. It's all about the money. The renewal is a way to generate cash to take care of things over the off season when you don't have a lot of cash flow coming in. And it's also going to really kind of fund your marketing efforts the following year. So it's that bridge between the end of one year to the beginning of the next, and you need to budget and plan accordingly. And we'll talk about that in future workshops here. But the renewal, really the main purpose is to generate off-season cash flow, and you take that off-season cash flow and you parlay it into marketing efforts. The whole referral economy and yellow pages and all that stuff doesn't exist anymore. So you need to make an investment in marketing if you want to grow your business. It's not going to happen for free. So it's important that we generate some cash to make that happen. So the renewal is going to be implemented over 3 distinct phases. One, the final visit of the year. We may be beyond that for a lot of you guys. And again, whether it's a fertilization service, whether it's maintenance, whether it's that fall cleanup, whatever it is, that final visit to the customer's home at the conclusion of the year is the first phase of the renewal. And unfortunately, if we're beyond that for some of you, then you missed it a little bit. The second phase is the final newsletter of the year. Now, when I say the final newsletter of the year, that's sort of assuming that you're sending out newsletters on a regular basis anyway. If you're not, maybe your final newsletter of the year is going to be your first newsletter of the year, and if that's the case, that's all right. Don't worry about it. But that's the second distinct phase of the renewal process. And 3, the third final phase, is the deadline, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Before we do go into explaining what those 3 phases are, the question I'm going to ask here is, what did I mean by deadline? What did I mean by deadline? Every campaign you ever run in your business has to include 3 very distinct elements, whether it's your renewal campaign, whether it's a sales campaign in the off-season, whether it's your campaign to do some upsells in the summertime or whatever. Every campaign you ever run is going to have to include 3 very distinct elements: an offer, a deadline, and a call to action. Keep that in mind all the time with everything that you ever do. So let's take a look at an example here. Let's take a look. You know what, I'm going to be going back and forth between the slides and websites and everything else, so it might be slightly messy a little bit. So here's an example of a renewal landing page. It's got a video on it. It's got a contact form. So what we see here is it says, don't miss out on our winter giveaway. The lawn care season is over for Lawnmark customers, but we want to keep making things easier for you this winter. So we've decided to give away the ultimate snow removal package. One lucky Lawnmark customer won't have to shovel even once this winter. The grand prize winner will get a year-long snow removal contract. Second prize, one second place winner will win a brand new snow blower. Third place, 100 pounds of environmentally friendly ice melt. Don't delay. The deadline for entry is December 15th. So we're pretty much spelling a few things out here, right? We're spelling out the offer, the deadline, and the call to action. So what's the offer? I'm not going to ask you to answer those questions, but the offer, the deadline, and the call to action. The offer simply revolves around a contest with 3 winners receiving prizes. The offer is if you renew or if you enter this contest, you can win a prize. And trust me when I tell you, even a crummy little prize really gets people to take action. The offer is to win a prize. The deadline is December 15th. Obviously, that was spelled out pretty clearly. The call to action is to renew your lawn care services. Now, these all seem like very simple concepts, right? But how many of you actually do this? These mechanisms trigger action on the part of your customer base. The offer, the deadline, and the call to action. If you do not have these 3 particular things in your renewal, you're going to be missing an element. You have to force people to take action. Remember, as we get closer and deeper into the winter and the off season, the less these people or your customers are thinking about you. So the renewal needs to focus on these particular issues. Is there any questions? Let's take a quick breath. Is there any questions so far? I know there's a couple people have typed a few things in, but I think I've answered them. All right, cool. So let's move along. So the renewal is implemented over 3 distinct phases. Again, the final visit of the year, the final newsletter of the year, and the deadline. Let's talk about the final visit of the year. The first presentation of the renewal promotion. When you visit your customer's home for the final time of the year, you've got to I see your questions coming in, guys. I'm going to hold off. I'll answer them when we get to the next break. So I'm going to, in the interest of just trying to truck along here and not go forever and blabber on and on, I'm going to move on. So the first phase of the renewal, the final visit of the year to your customer's base. This is the first time that you're going to be able to present this this actual program to your customers, right? It's a couple things that you need to do. You need a leave behind, which is the renewal itself. You need a promotion. You need to announce it, which is another leave behind, exactly what the promotion is going to be. And there needs to be a vehicle for the customer to be able to take action on it. So let's take a look at a couple of examples. I'm going to have to bounce out of here. So here's the announcement. So this is a graphic design of a piece of paper that you would have printed. And it's kind of eye-catchy, it's colorful, it's a little bit busy, but you're going to leave this or an example of this particular piece with every final visit to the home. So this is basically saying the Lawnmark Plus Winter Renewal Contest, right? That's announcing what it is. All you have to do is renew your services before December 15th. You'll be entered to win. Here's what you can win if you do it. Just return your signed agreement in the envelope provided, and you'll automatically be entered to win. So that vehicle that we're talking about is an envelope. Obviously, they're going to have to mail something back to you. What is it they're going to mail back to you? Here it is right here, the actual renewal itself. So it's sort of like almost a newsletter. It says, today I'm applying the final application of the season. Our goal is to provide you with a thick, green, weed-free, healthy lawn, on and on. A couple other points that you might want to announce to the customer. It's basically a final communication that you're going to have with them, or what they think is going to be a final communication. So you're going to announce it with something like this. They're going to need something to take action with. This is the cost associated with this particular customer. They're on a 6-application program. I always like to pick one supplemental service that I like the customer to renew. Many times companies might put every single service that a customer bought the previous year, and you know your customer base better than anybody. If that's what your customer base wants to see, go ahead and throw everything on there. Sticker shock for me is sort of a big deal. I don't like to throw thousands of dollars on it. So even if this particular customer bought a lot of the services that we provide, I like to offer one optional service and their one core service. So this customer is getting the 6-app program, preventative grub control. We've given them an envelope. Hopefully they'll write a check. They're going to renew. It's important to state that they don't have to prepay. We like to see many checks come in as possible. That's the goal here. We're trying to drive some cash flow. So that's the first phase, guys. What we're going to try to do is just announce the promotion with that nice leave behind. We're going to give them a vehicle to renew, the envelope, simple as that. And they've got to have some information based on what their program actually was. They need to know what they're renewing. So that's the first phase of the renewal. Again, it's all kind of simple as we move along here, but as I say a lot of times, if you're not actually doing it, you kind of have to just do it. If you don't do these very simple processes, you're not going to really see any results. And without that cash flow in the off season, things can get dicey. Plus, we're trying to generate some funds to do some marketing. So, phase 2, the final newsletter of the year. Once you've completed, or you're very close to completing, all of the work you've got on the books, you don't have to wait till everything is done. You don't have to wait till that very last day when all of your information is, or when all of your services are complete. But somewhere near the very end of the year, you've got to get that final newsletter out to your customer base. And again, I said that if you're not doing regular newsletters, email newsletters, you really should be. And I know these things take time. They're not. When you're out there busy trying to run your business and deal with employees and talk to customers and everything else, these peripheral things can really get left behind. But you have to make a commitment to doing them. So the final newsletter of the year is the second phase. It's the second presentation of the renewal promotion. So what we're going to do is send a newsletter and then send the renewal again, and the vehicle has to be a way for them to get that back to you. At this point, they've all seen, or the majority of your customers have seen that first announcement. Most of the time, a customer is going to say, okay, I got to do that. I got to get that renewal back. It goes on the counter. It gets forgotten about. So the second phase is important. You'll always see a lot of results from this second phase. So let's take a look at a couple examples from this one. So if you send an email newsletter, I did one real quick right here. So it's basically a communication that you send out to your entire customer base. This one says, enter the Lawnmark Renewal Winter Giveaway Contest today. Again, you're going to have a couple of mentions. You can talk about things. This one I did real quick. So when you do yours, you can talk about things that you accomplished this year, things that you may want to change for the next year. You may want to acknowledge a couple of key employees, just your typical newsletter, things that could be of interest. You don't want to get too wordy. You want to keep it somewhat limited. But again, the main purpose of this newsletter is to help your customers know that it's time to renew. You're going to promote that contest significantly. You're going to repeat what you put in that first phase with the leave behinds. Grand prize, second place, third place. Here's the mechanism here, guys. It says at the end of it, look for an email to arrive from us with your renewal information. All you have to do is reply before December 15th, and you'll be entered to win. So depending on what type of software or how you run your business, whether you use, I know a lot of BSafe guys use Service Autopilot, whether you use Real Green, you have to use something. There has to be some sort of mechanism to be able to get that information electronically to your customer base. In this case, we're going to use the My Lawn Quote program. So what we do is after we send that newsletter to our customers, immediately following that, we send them a quote. Again, this looks familiar. We've changed it up a little bit. We've changed the wording on it to reflect the timing and the phase of the renewal. And as soon as we send that newsletter, we follow it up with sending renewal package. So we immediately send this to them, and it's got their existing or their personal quote information, their personal program and renewal information. So they click on that. Again, they're going to see this again. They're going to see a description of the services that they purchased the previous year, their pricing. We've got the preventative grub control here. Again, that's the only time we'll put two particular services. I mean, one supplemental service and their core service. This gives them another mechanism, another way to be able to renew. So they're going to just select that, and they can check out. I'm reading your questions. All right, so that's the second phase. Got it? Good. Let's go back to this. That's the second phase of the renewal. Finally, the deadline. Finally, the deadline. Once we get close to December 15th, it's the third chance or the third opportunity for your customers to renew. So there are a couple things you can do here. One, you can basically repeat phase one with that same sort of leave behind information, and you can mail that. You can put it in the regular postal service, snail mail. You could repeat phase two. You could do send the information again out via email. And finally, here's something that we don't do a lot of times anymore. We don't pick up the telephone and call. So these are your existing customers. These are customers who know you. It's not like it's a sales pitch. They may not be expecting your call, but a nice personal call to remind them of the pending deadline of the contest and the renewal is always helpful. So it's best to if you're going to do that during the day, you can leave lots of voicemails. I know not everybody answers the telephone anymore. I know I don't. The phone rings and I don't move, but I do listen to voicemail. Or it might make sense to work a couple of hours in the evening, right? You may want to work from 5 to 8 a couple of nights a week to get on the telephone and get in touch with all of your customers. Again, to remind them that the deadline for the renewal program is approaching, for the contest is approaching, and you can get to them that way. All right. Are there any questions? I know that there's a couple here. So let me read them. Here's a good one. What percentage of your customers should you expect to renew early? That's a great question, Jason. So at least half. You're going to want to get at least half of your customers to make that commitment to renew their services with you. 50%. By the end of the season, you should essentially expect all of your customers to renew. You don't want to leave it open, right? You either want them to tell you that they're going to cancel, or you want them to tell you that they're going to renew. There's a certain percent of customers that you're just not going to get in touch with. And depending on what state you live in or what your rules and regulations are, how you're actually going to run your business, most of the time it becomes an auto-renew situation. So if you don't hear from somebody, and sometimes you want to put language in your contracts or in your marketing material that the programs are going to auto-renew unless you're told that you want them to be canceled. So you're going to want to get at least half of your customers to renew early. The other question is about prepayments. How many customers can you expect to prepay? That's a double-edged sword because you're offering a significant discount, right? In order to get somebody to renew, you have to, or to pay for something, months in advance of actually getting the service, you have to offer a discount. And if too many of your customers prepay and renew, that can bite directly into your gross sales. At Lawn Dog, we used to expect 40% of our customers to prepay, and that was a lot. So a lot of times you'll offer a more significant prepaid discount before that deadline. You might want to use the first of the year if you're going to offer 10% prepaid discount up until the first of the year. It might drop to 5% after the first year. But remember, the whole point of doing this renewal is to generate that cash flow. So you have to be a little bit careful with it. What inevitably ends up happening, Joe, to answer your question, is that some of you may have heard me say this before, this eventually becomes a math equation, and the same thing happens every single year. So the better you get at tracking what's going on, the better you get at tracking that cash flow, tracking that, that production, you're going to know exactly what to expect and when to expect it. Every company is going to be a little bit different, but that's the importance of keeping track of exactly how the whole thing plays out. Any other questions? So to review quickly, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of send out our renewal program with a contest. There has to be an offer. In this particular case, the contest is to Dave, to answer your phone, to answer your question. You're not going to use the snowblower on the lawn. You're going to use the snowblower as a prize to give to your customers. I'm not sure if you misunderstood what I was talking about, but I know I've dealt with you before on a couple of issues, and I know how you can kind of fall behind occasionally. So what we're going to do is we're going to use that snowblower as a prize, as a giveaway, with a deadline of December 15th and a call to action to renew. So it makes a ton of sense. It's going to drive a ton of renewals and a ton of cash flow for you. The next step that you're going to be able to kind of take advantage of here is how you can use the renewal as a marketing opportunity. This is something that that you absolutely need to take advantage of. So just because you reach the end of the season, right, just because you no longer are mowing lawns, or once all of your cleanups are done, or your winterizations are complete, your aerations are all done, it's not a good reason to just say, okay, I'm done, I'm going to hang out, and watch TV. You immediately need to begin working on how you can make more sales. Your company needs, if you're in growth mode, if you want to grow your business, your company needs to revolve around constantly figuring out ways to bring on new customers. And that, that's 12 months a year. So as soon as you finish production, you need to get right into figuring out how to make more sales. So you can use this renewal as a marketing opportunity. So in two different ways. Email marketing is one. Social media marketing is another, and the same concepts apply. So let's talk about how we do the email marketing deal. So what you're going to do is send the same exact newsletter with a couple of minor variations to your entire database. How many of you guys keep track of every single estimate you ever do? Hopefully all of you. Every customer you ever have. When a customer, when you have somebody as a customer and then they cancel for whatever reason, whether they just want to use a competitor, or they need to cut back on cost or something like that, that becomes your best prospect in the future. So it's very important that you keep a database or a list. And if you're running a software program, like I said, like Service Autopilot or RealGreen or any of those other ones, that's your universe, your list. It's very, very important. Customers or potential customers who've done, you've done an estimate on prior, but they don't purchase your service, if they're a reject, those are your second best prospects when it comes to new sales. And then just your list. And nowadays, because the whole yellow pages being dead and the whole referral thing not working the way it used to, you consistently need to build your list. You need to consistently put out that content, drive people through SEO, through paid search to your website, and do lead capture all of the time. You need to be building that list 12 months a year, 52 weeks a year, all the time. So what you're going to do is send out that newsletter to that entire list, whether it's thousands of people, whether it's tens of thousands of people. It might only be a couple hundred. If you're not building your list, start today. Start making sure that you're constantly building that list. When you send out this newsletter to your database, the minute a recipient clicks on a link in that newsletter, and you need to set it up appropriately so that they need to click through to look at more information. When a recipient clicks on something, that's a sign of engagement. That means that they've read the email, they've opened the email, and they want to get more information. As soon as that recipient clicks on an email, and good question here, how do you know who clicks? So I actually set that up already. So let's look at this. So when you use a service like MailChimp, which we use here, anytime somebody clicks on an email that you send out, I mean a link inside of an email, it's going to tell you. It's going to tell you who clicked on it, how many times they clicked on it, what time it was. And when you send a newsletter out, you should look at these statistics. And as soon as somebody clicks on something, you're going to want to send them an estimate. Over the course of the next couple of days, anytime somebody opens that newsletter, so clicks and opens are the two key sort of metrics when it comes to marketing. As soon as somebody opens that email, you want to send them a quote. You want to work on the clicks first and the open second. So the minute a recipient clicks on something, you want to send them a quote. Within 24 hours of any potential customer opening that email, you want to send them a quote too. And whatever the mechanism for that is, you could use the MLQ method that we showed previously. A lot of your software will automatically do it. However you do it, get a quote for that person's services in their email immediately. So what's going to happen when you send these things out? You can sell up to 3% of all those quotes that you send out. That would be high. 3% would be high. You won't ever sell fewer than 1%. Now 1% is low. If you send out you got to send out an awful lot of estimates to be able to make any meaningful number of sales with that. But it's still, don't forget, it's the end of 1 year. To be making new sales for the following year is definitely worth it. But the most important thing with this kind of marketing during the off season, or again, like at the end of the current season, the work that you're going to do here is totally the foundation for the marketing campaigns that you're going to launch later this winter and in the springtime. It's about being top of mind. So somebody might get a quote from you in November or December, and they're like, what the heck am I going to do with this? And they might put it away. They might not even think about it again until March when the snow melts and they're ready to hire somebody. They might be, upset with their existing service, and they may remember that you had sent that to them back towards the end of the year. But also, you're going to be consistently sending email newsletters to them, once a month. And you can also do more things based on their behavior, again, based on clicks and opens and all that kind of thing. And we'll talk about that in the future. But the work that you do now really seriously becomes the foundation for the sales that you're going to make later on. So you've got a couple things going on at the same time. You're renewing your existing customer base. You're generating cash flow. You're doing estimates for future potential customers. And even though the results aren't always visible or immediately evident, again, it's the base for that future sales campaign that you're going to launch really with the money you make from your renewals. So there's your email marketing. Another thing that that is becoming more and more, obviously increasingly popular, it's actually taking over completely. I've mentioned the whole yellow page is not making a difference anymore. How about social media? So what you can do here is put that contest on Facebook. And if the giveaway is enticing enough, you're going to be able to literally build your list. Remember, I talked about building your list. You put that the contest directly on Facebook, and I'll show you how it's going to work in a minute. But you're going to potentially make another sale, or 2 or 3 or 25, depending on your following and on your potential customer base. So check this out. Here's how it works. Let me go back a little bit. So you can remember over here on this landing page, there was this video, and I'm not going to play it because it's not going to translate well online. But it's a 30-second clip announcing what the renewal contest is all about. If you can upload that over here to your Facebook page, and I just put this. Look, I just did it 2 hours ago in preparation for this. And if I hit refresh, how many people were reached? 69 people were reached. We got a couple people commenting on it. So this is going to show up in the feed of people who are liking or following your page. We're giving away a free ice melt, brand new snowblower, annual snow plowing contract. Just sign up or renew with us before December 15th and be entered to win. They're going to watch the video, but most importantly, I know you're saying, I'm not going to get far with only 69 people having seen the advertisement. This page only has 335 likes. Most of your Facebook pages probably don't have, thousands and thousands of followers. But there's this little button right here, right? There's this little button right here, Boost Post. I'm going to stop for a minute. How many of you guys have done advertising on Facebook? Probably not a lot. Well, a couple. So you click on Boost Post, and it's pretty inexpensive. You can choose exactly who sees this. You guys, if you've ever obviously been on Facebook, it's not my most favorite thing to do, but lots of people, it is their favorite thing to do. You can choose the demographic and the geo-targeting that Facebook allows you to get is actually scary, right? It's really scary. So you can choose what zip codes are going to see this ad. You can choose the age of the people. The gender, you're going to want to do both. You can drill it down to whether or not somebody's married. Lots of different things. So the kind of the goal here is that you're not going to spend a ton of money. You can spend as much or as little, $1,000. I don't think so. $20 maybe. You can track it, and you can track the clicks, the click-throughs that get to it. Again, even though you may or may not be generating any business, making a ton of sales, you're definitely going to build your list because, again, when you click through and play this video, it gives that person the opportunity to enter their information, especially their email, and that becomes a part of what you're going to do moving forward in building your list and advertising to people in the future. So the renewal, again, serves as everything we talked about, a way to generate cash flow, ready to kind of get your following year lined up, but it also represents marketing opportunities too. How'd I do for time? 40 minutes, not too bad. That's much better than the 90 minutes we used to do. Any questions? Is there any questions I can answer about the renewal process here, you guys? Questions, questions, questions. Okay, so the question is, how do I build a landing page? Most of the time, it's not something that you can do yourself. You're going to want to talk to your web developer, to the person who's built your website, and the person who kind of maintains your website. And they can either do it for you, or let me go back to this for a second. One thing you'll see in everything that we always promote, this is a good one, but let's go to this one. You should always, always, always have a contact form. It's always all about building your list. So this is one of the Be Safe Lawn websites that we're using to generate consumer business. You can see this lead capture is front and center. This is a very, very simple website. It's right on the home page. In the idea, again, actually, look, we've got a giveaway. We've got a call to action. They get that the 9 organic lawn care tips that will change your lawn and life forever. So when a person finds their way to this particular website, in order to get that, they need to fill out this form. Now you've added somebody else to your list. So again, the question is of how do you build a landing page? It's not something that really you or I, unless you've got skills that I don't have, you're going to want to talk to your web developer or the person who maintains your website, and they can set it up for you. It usually will just be an extension of your existing website. When you have a landing page, you don't want the opportunity for a customer to go to lots of different places. You don't want them to get confused. You want them to land there, do what they need to do, and then go away. So you'll notice on this particular site, it's very, very simple. There's not a ton of different things for them to do. There's not links everywhere that they're gonna get lost in. The landing page is the home page. They do what they got to do and they get out of there. All right, let's see. David, that's pretty good. That's a good point. So the question here, it says, I assume we can make this offer to get new clients called an early bird special. That, yeah, you could call it that. You could discount what you're going to offer to them. But again, you want to kind of spin it off of the renewal process. And even if you're not running a really significant renewal campaign, potential customers or potential new clients don't really need to know that. You know, the bigger you make your business seem or appear, the more credibility you have kind of getting into it. Again, this time of year, it's all about building that list. And if you can pick up a couple of clients along the way, that's even better. You could call it an early bird special for sure. But make sure that you get that. Make sure you get that offer out there to them. Make sure they understand that there's a deadline associated with it, and then kind of consistently push that message over and over again. Okay, I got about a dozen questions here. Let me kind of get through them. Yeah. Okay, Ryan. Excellent. Good question. I'm just going to read it out loud. Would you send the offers to the people you had done bids for but didn't get, or just your current customer base? So kind of reviewing what we were talking about here, you're gonna really run two concurrent campaigns, right? You're gonna run your renewal campaign. You're gonna run your renewal campaign to your existing customers, right? And you can kind of change the message a little bit. So look at this here. This was the messaging we sent to our existing customers, the renewal contest. All you have to do is renew your services before December 15th, and you're entered into the contest. And as a result of that, you can win these wicked awesome prizes, right? And those existing customers are going to get a contract-looking thing like this with their existing services, the cost associated with them. In this case, this 20% prepaid discount, this is a different argument for a different time or a different concept for a different time. But at this point, I feel like you should be offering a really deep prepaid discount, but it's not really a prepaid discount. It's almost like a post-pay penalty. You know, people pay for things in bulk now. You know, it's not like you're going to hit somebody for 25 bucks an app 7 times a year. Most people want to get that out of the way. People prepay out of convenience. So take your price list and increase it by whatever percent you're increasing that prepaid discount by. So if you're going to offer a 10% prepaid discount, usually for new clients or leading up to this, actually look right here. It says the 20% prepaid discount will be adjusted to 10% on January 1st. So think of it more as a post-pay penalty as opposed to a prepaid discount. So to answer your question again, you're going to have two concurrent campaigns. One goes to your existing customer base to get them to renew and to get them to prepay so that you can use that cash to run your business in the off-season and launch subsequent marketing campaigns. You can also parlay that into a marketing opportunity. So you're going to send that same offer. You can tweak the language a little bit. You tweak it a little bit to, in the case of what you're asking here, to people you've done bids before but didn't get. Those are what we call rejects. You know, the cancels and rejects are always going to be, you know, the most common or the highest closing percent of any other lead source that you'll ever get. So, yes. Boy, can I talk around the question, huh? The answer to your question is yes. Send it to your existing customer base and clients that you've done estimates before in the past but did not sell, did not sign up. Ryan, good question or good statement here. I've put out a ton of bids, but I'm losing them to True Green and Scott's. This is where most people would say, Ryan, they'd say, come on, Ryan, you know you're better than that. Don't play that game. Don't reduce your costs. Or a lot of times people say, hey, look, I don't play that lowballing game. If True Green wants to do that for 50 bucks an app, they can have it. To me, that's sort of a cop-out. You need to be aware of what that pricing structure is, to what the market will bear for what services that you're selling, and you have to be somewhat competitive, right? So everybody knows they can get a better deal from True Green or Scott's. Everybody knows that. But if you're going to price your services to be double what True Green and Scott's is charging, you're not going to make any sales ever. So you're probably going to need to make some adjustments. You're going to have to be able to compete on price just a little bit. You don't want to just constantly be dropping the price because you'll never win that way. So if True Green has a bid for $50, you can't say I'll do 49 because you know what's going to happen, right? They're just going to do it for 48, and then it'll consistently go down. So you need, this is again perhaps another topic that we can do on another day, but it's building value in your service, and that kind of revolves around how you present your brand. It revolves around your existing customers, being happy in customer service and the reputation associated with what you do. But you do have to play that pricing game a little bit. You do. Couple questions about how to get access to this recording. So I did record this, and I'm going to send out probably tomorrow because I have to render it and everything else. I'm going to send out an email that will tell you exactly where the recording of the workshop is going to be. I'm not going to make it completely public because it's really for the consulting clients and for BSafe. So it's not really like I said, in the past we did the lunch here in the 21st century. One time we had 160 people on one of those webinars. We're going to kind of reduce that a little bit and keep the content to people who are most associated with it. I'm also going to send out an email today with how you can watch the replay tonight. I'll drop you guys an email this afternoon on how you can watch the replay tonight. Okay, I'm going to scroll up. Any other questions, guys? I'm at 50 minutes, which is about where I wanted to be, and I think I've answered a fair amount of your questions. Ryan, that's good. Ford, no, that's not good. That's not good. See, you can't. Ryan, his point here is he said he has one that he took from True Green. He had them paying $86 per application. True Green took them back at $40. What's going to happen there, Ryan? And not knowing anything particular about that account, it's likely that they'll screw that up and then they'll come back to you. But you should probably find a way to bend on your pricing a little bit. It's more than double what True Green's charging. So that's why, I say you do need to compete on price a little bit. You have to, or else you're not ever going to make any sales. What email services do I recommend? MailChimp is really simple to use. You can build kind of nice-looking email templates. It's really, 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 really easy to use. It's free up to 2,000 accounts or up to 2,000 prospects, and you really can't beat that. Once you have more than a couple thousand, it's cheap. A couple other ones are Constant Contact. That's a real popular one, and there's tons out there. There's tons out there. If you just Google email marketing services, a lot of times now the CRM that you're using, and again whether it's Service Autopilot or whatever, will have emailing capacity. But I like MailChimp. It's free or inexpensive, and it puts out really nice email newsletters. It's very easy to use. And Dave, you're right. It's you can actually set up autoresponders with it too. So if somebody clicks on something, something is automatically sent to them. Or if you've got a form set up on your website and somebody joins your mailing list, it will automatically send them an email saying thank you for joining my list. So email marketing absolutely has to be a part of what you do. You're going to use it for the renewal like we talked about today. You're certainly going to use email as the main way to get your renewals done. 2 of the 3 phases revolve around the ability to send your customers emails. So for sure. That's a common question I get about CRMs. What do I recommend? And we used my lawn quote there to send those quotes. My lawn quote is not a CRM. It's not something that's going to be able to help you schedule services or bill your customers or print invoices and things like that. It's really just the arm of your marketing division. You can upload all of your list to that. You can collect all of your data in the back end of that. It's just a really simple way to be able to email quotes and estimates to your customer base. But there are way more advanced things too, way more, again, I keep mentioning Service Autopilot just because we know them very well. But there are other CRMs out there, other software programs that you can use to run your business. You certainly do need something. If you're running your business on Excel and QuickBooks, you need to change that like stat. Make that a resolution that at the conclusion of this year and the beginning of next year, you move away from MailChimp, Excel, and QuickBooks, and you find yourself working with a legitimate software program that's going to help you run your business. That's really, really important. The MLQ is really part of the marketing part of what you do. It just makes it real simple to send estimates. And yeah, you can measure properties with the satellite too. All right. Any other questions, guys? So look for an email from me explaining how we're going to be able to watch the replay of this. If you want somebody who you work with or somebody who was unable to attend today to be able to watch the replay, we're going to play it again tonight at 8 o'clock. I'll send you some information on how to get them involved. I know we had 130 people registered for today's call, and only slightly more than 50 were here. I think that probably has a lot to do with the snow in most parts of the country and the cold. So I think we'll probably have a pretty good sized group. Please, you can come back again. Right? Look for more information from me to talk about next week's topic. So we're going to kind of build every week from the renewal to analyzing the previous year to planning the next year and on and on. We'll hopefully be able to perfect a process that's going to help you be able to grow your business. So thanks for being with me today. Cheers to me for keeping it under 60 minutes, and I'll see you guys next week. By the way, if you guys want to give me a call here or contact me by email, please do, anytime. I want to be able to help you grow your business. So thanks for being with me today, and I'll talk to you again soon.